What is up? Welcome to this week's episode of Lambgoat's Vanflip podcast. I'm your host, LURK, and today I'm joined by another host of another podcast and a host of a band, technically, Matt from CRYPTOPSY. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Lurk. Thank you for having me on the podcast. I've been following Vanflip for a long time, so I'm happy to be on the podcast.
Yeah, I think we kind of came into fruition around the same time.
I think so.
Yeah.
We both did Sound Talent, I want to say.
Yep.
Yeah.
R.I.P. to Dave, obviously. I think,
obviously, it's horrible.
Yeah, I think he was one of the guys that we were talking to in the beginning when we...
Exactly. He's the guy I had the phone call with.
Yeah, exactly.
That put Box and Hops on Sound Talent Media.
Yeah. Same. So R.I.P. Though not to start off on a down note, Matt is currently in Europe. You're doing the Decapitated tour, so I want to thank you for taking the time out of your busy night, probably to chat with us. But you guys had an album earlier this year, or no? No, you did.
It's coming out.
Yeah, coming out in June. Sorry,
out June 20th.
Yeah,
you got this. I believe in you.
This would be you know how it is out here. But you also have a 30th anniversary coming out too. Following that, in July, you have a 30th anniversary edition of Blasphemy Made Flesh. So you got a lot going on in the next coming months.
We're very busy. This tour has been incredible. Decapitated, Warbringer, CRYPTOPSY, Power Nation, just tearing across Europe. We started in Europe. We started in the UK. 9 shows across the UK. Most of that was sold out. Mainland Europe has been incredible. We are in the suburbs of Germany somewhere today, called Vecta. It's a nice, beautiful little city. The venue was cute. They let us stay here for a long time. We got a fire pit outside that I'm missing because I'm doing a bunch of press, but it's worth it because An Insatiable Violence is coming out on June 20th via Season of Mist.
Yeah, that's your second one on that label, right? You guys signed with
Correct.
Season?
No, that's not right. Now we were independent for 10 years.
Yeah.
After we did the self-titled and then the Book of Suffering, Tome 1, Tome 2, independently, and then we signed for As Gomorrah Burns to Nuclear Blast. That was a one-album deal. We enjoyed the experience there, but as we tried to expand the relationship, we did not see eye to eye. When then it became very, very easily decision to go to Season of Mist. Flo is an Ultimus, was an Ultimus. I don't know how I should present that. And he loved his experience with Season of Mist, with Michael, with Gordon. And as soon as Nuclear Blast and CRYPTOPSY weren't seeing eye to eye, it was a very easy decision to go to Season of Mist. And that's why there's this whole reissue happening of our back catalog and a brand new album coming out on June 20th.
Nice. Well, I will say the 2 singles you guys have put out already from this particular piece of work are pretty devastatingly brutal and awesome. So congratulations on that.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. I mean... Do you ever find it difficult when writing and just trying to create more CRYPTOPSY stuff, that because the band technically has been around since the late 80s in one form or another, that you always are like having to like one up the last release or the genre in general?
We're constantly uncomfortable and very, very unhappy. Is what it is. My guitarist holds a lot of the weight on his shoulders when it comes to writing. Since John left after the self-titled in 2012, it really fell into his lap, and he struggled with an imposter syndrome for many years after that, trying to find his own voice of how he can voice CRYPTOPSY in his own way while still honoring the legacy of everything that happened before him. So a lot of that falls into his lap. We as a band only focus on honoring the legacy. Everything that we do, every decision that we make is made in the way that we will never tarnish the legacy again. The Unspoken King is a big enough tarnish. We don't want another one of those. We're only focusing on the future and trying to create something interesting, relevant, while still honoring everything that's happened before us.
And speaking of this, how tech death or brutal death metal has kind of progressed, where do you think that tech death or brutal metal is heading? And do you feel a connection with younger bands that cite like CRYPTOPSY as an influence?
I think it's cool. I think it's I'm honored to have any fan or any band come up to me and say that I've influenced them to do anything or the band has. I think that as it keeps going, it's going to become even more extreme, even faster. If you look at extreme vocals, the way that they've evolved over the past 10 years, people like Will Ramos just showcasing how extreme vocals can really truly be to a mass market appeal on TikTok and other social media platforms where little kids are going to get exposed to extreme vocals far earlier than you or I were, because did not have that medium to witness this.
Correct.
The sky is the limit with the future. It's going to be really interesting,
Yeah,
as long as there's still songs behind the technicality.
Right. It's all got to be a complete cohesive unit. But
it has to. That's what we focus on mostly. Like
yeah.
It's not about the brutality is one thing, but is there a song behind that?
As a scene elder as myself, I think I'm the same age as you or maybe a year older, but as a scene elder, like, why do you think extreme music is like so cathartic for both, not only the fans, but like the people creating it too?
Well, for myself, I know that I was a very, very angry youth. I had a lot of emotions in high school that I didn't have an out. I didn't play sports. I did, but I wasn't good at it. I acted, but I wasn't the main character. I had a lot of emotions and I had nowhere to put it. So metal really made me feel more zen. I had a lot of emotions. Like, I was very explosive. I didn't know what my place was in the world until I found being a frontman. So then I think that's the same thing for other people that are discovering extreme music now. Is it's this beautiful thing to watch a mosh pit, to watch people be so aggressive with each other, yet so caring. It's really interesting. Yeah. Someone falls and everyone's there to pick them up.
Yeah, it is pretty crazy. Speaking of mosh pits and then like Will Ramos and kids getting us taste of like extreme music and vocals earlier on, why do you think, as someone who's been in the scene for as long as you guys have, why do you think that it is so palatable now for like the younger generation? Is it because they're just seeing it at an earlier age, or because like we stumbled into it.
This, we played in Denmark 2 nights ago, and I would say 30% of the crowd were 16-year-old kids. It was insane. It was beautiful. It was insane. But it was like, where is this coming from? I don't know if it's just like, I'm at this point where I'm 42 years old almost. Maybe 43. I can't remember.
I feel you.
And I think I'm going to turn 42 this year. Everything is cyclical. If I look at all the girls, young girls now, which I shouldn't be doing, and I'm not doing because I'm not a deathcore vocalist, they're all wearing the shit that the girls in my high school year would wear, like the crop top shirts, the belly, the low rise. So everything is cyclical. So maybe death metal is just finally back and cool. I don't know.
Yeah, it's been interesting to watch just over the course of like maybe since the pandemic. Obviously, like hardcore blew up too because of TikTok and Instagram and
Turnstile and Knock Loose and just insane. Yeah.
I think the mosh pitting also, the videos of mosh pits kind of have gravitated towards pulling people in as well.
Yeah, but it's so cool to watch these little kids like full battle vest. They know all the words to new songs, the old songs. It's simply incredible. It's baffling, and it happened in the States too. Mm-hmm. We played in Spokane, and it was a sold out show. It was us headlining on the Death to All tour on an off date, and it was packed with all these kids. Like, kids just want to go to shows and experience things. It's interesting.
Yeah. An insatiable violence compared to like As Gomorrah Burns, and then it was like, you had like a decade almost in between that with your last full length of the self-titled. What can fans outside of listening to the 2 singles that are already out, what can fans kind of expect that might be different from something that Asgamora Burns or the self-titled had on it?
Well, there's definitely more of groove elements. We toured a lot after Asgamora Burns. We did over 150 shows. We would analyze what is working. Why do people love None So Vile? What is it about None So Vile in a live setting that just makes a crowd pop? Why does Graves of the Fathers always have a pit? And it's a groove element. It's the melody element. It's a more digestible song. There's parts that come back that are catchy, rhythmical. So we dove really deeply into that, the new record, trying to create a far more digestible CRYPTOPSY record, which is a feat because it's still extreme and it's still very, very, very brutal. But a first-time listener will have far more things they can bite their teeth into than, let's say, the self-titled or the Whisper Supremacy or the Tomes. There's far more riffs that come back, that repeat themselves for a little bit longer. It's dark, it's moody. There's some strange lower sections, which is something we've never done before very often for as long. It's interesting. If you look at the record like as a vinyl, there's a side A, side B. The first four tracks are really intense. Side B is far more experimental. There's like a weird melodic intro. There's a very slow sort of calmy section, which is something that we hadn't done before, at least in my era of CRYPTOPSY.
Yeah, because it's been interesting because you said palatable. I mean, you said it's more marketable or more easily on
digestible.
The ears. Digestible. That's the word. Yes. I don't want people to think that it's kind of like you guys pulled back a little bit.
We're not selling out. No, we're not. No, we pushed even further, but we wrote great fucking songs.
Yeah, they're pretty fucking nice.
The songwriting is there. Yeah. It's just easier for people.
I agree. There are
like a first-time listener to understand what the fuck is going on.
Yeah, and I agree with that because there are a lot more pieces that you can kind of like notice here or there. It's not just your basic brutal tech death record that
where you're like your mouth is open and you're like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah.
No, we don't. There's moments like that, but there's other parts where you're like, oh, I can bang my head here, and then when they switch it up, it's like interesting. It's not like, oh, I feel like I didn't understand what happened there.
Yeah. You mentioned your era of CRYPTOPSY, and you kind of joined in the mid-aughts, mid 2000s there. How do you feel as like the frontman for CRYPTOPSY now compared to whether it was like your first handful of years? Because obviously, you know, there might have
was horrible. It was horrible. The beginning, I was so excited when I joined CRYPTOPSY. I thought it was going to be like my big break, that I was going to finally like I was in another band, 3 Mile Scream. I thought this was going to like catapult 3 Mile Scream, and it just killed 3 Mile Scream. It killed all my confidence because everyone hated the Unspoken King. Everyone hated me. Other bands would have fired me and just put in some death metal vocalist and let that be the new era and like goodbye. Sorry, it was this kid. Fuck this kid. That's not what CRYPTOPSY did. They stood behind me. They believed in me. Flo Mooney has always believed in me. He knew I had it in me. He knew I was the guy. And I felt like shit for many, many years, up until probably 10 years. I felt like shit, but kept touring, kept doing it, kept releasing stuff. Until I played Maryland Death Fest 2017. We were doing None So Vile in its entirety on the sound stage, and the crowd just went off. And I finished that set, and I said, thank you so much. For finally accepting me. And the crowd was like, and I said the same thing. We did Maryland Death Fest last year. And I said the same thing. It's like it's a pivotal moment in my career as a singer where I finally feel accepted as the vocalist of CRYPTOPSY.
Did you ever kind of like reach out to or lean on the previous vocals like Lord Worm or Martin before he passed?
We've hung out. We've talked. We've been friends. But Lord Worm is not someone that's going to tell me how to do vocals. Lord Worm doesn't know what he's doing. Martin is cool, but he's along the same lines, and Mike is cool, and he's also probably along the same lines. I'm probably the most cohesively fluent vocalist as to technique wise that Cryptopsy has ever had. But it took me years just to get there. It's just touring and playing around with my voice and pushing it, testing things out. The most like after the for my voice, that like eureka moment for myself was my friend Enrico, who's the singer of Hideous Divinity, is an ear, nose, and throat doctor. He lives in Rome. He has a practice in Rome because he's a doctor. And he picked me up when I was on tour last year with Atheist. And he brought me to his clinic and he put a camera down my nose and I performed Lascivious and Divine. And he was like, dude, you're fucking perfect. You have perfect technique. There's no damage. He's like, you snore sometimes. I can see that. But there's nothing wrong with your voice. Like,
Yeah.
And since then, it's just been the most reassuring thing. I'd always like have this conversation with my wife, like stress before doing any performance or practice or anything. And I would always write her like, oh, the voice worked. Now I don't do that anymore. The voice always works.
Interesting. Have you ever tried different techniques or styles of screaming over the past couple of years?
For sure. There's been a big evolution. Like when I started out in Cryptopsy, I was doing more of like a tunnel throat vocals where I was just pushing so hard, trying to be as brutal as I needed to be, but it was working against me. Whereas the false chord scream is far more relaxed and it's just air and flesh vibrating. And I switched to that probably 5 years ago, and it's been the best evolution I've ever had.
How did you get into that? Did you see somebody, or
it was an accident? It was a happy accident. I was like stepping back into the studio. I was recording Tome 2, and I just happened to do like a as I was walking into the studio, and Chris was like, "What the fuck was that? Why don't you do that? Do that." And then we did some lines like that, and then as we were like touring Tome 2, we were like, me and Chris were like, "We're next record, we're only using that voice. This is the next voice. This is it." And I just started using that voice for Lord Worm back in the day. And after that Tome 2 came out, all the Lord Worm songs would have the false chord scream, and then everything else would just be the old Matt voice. And then after the pandemic, it was like, this is it. I'm only using this voice, and that's it.
Interesting. I kind of do want to pivot, since I only have you here for a short period of time, to the podcast, if you don't mind, because I don't get
of course.
I don't get to talk to a lot of other podcasters. You know what I mean? So, where did you decide? Like, when did you decide to do it? Because it was pre-pandemic, so obviously you were doing it before that.
Exactly. No, it happened. I know exactly what happened. It's because in 2018, Chris's studio has been successful for many, many years. He's always recording a bunch of amazing bands, Shadow of Intent, Despised Icon, Suffocation, CRYPTOPSY, The Agonists, Beneath the Massacre. The list goes on. Ollie told me that same year that he was going to join Cattle Decapitation. And then Flo came to see me and he was like, "Matt, we found a new singer for my project with Rune, Ultimass, and it's David Vincent, the singer of Morbid Angel." And I was like, oh, I need to find something for myself because I'm going to be jealous.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to feel jealous of my band. It would be toxic. So I discussed with my wife. I was listening to a lot of podcasts at that point in my life. And I was like, I guess I could do this. So I started a podcast. 2018, I launched with 10 episodes. In October 2018, I launched with 10 episodes where I just sat down with my friends. I love craft beer. It's a big part of my life. And I wanted to just share craft beer, sit down, have a chat with fellow metal musicians, talk about life and music, and some beers. And here I am, 6-7 years into it almost 500 episodes.
Oh, man.
And I'm going to take a hiatus.
Are you really?
I'm done.
Are you really?
Yeah. Man.
Oh, man.
I dropped episode 498 today. I have 2 more, and I'm going on hiatus.
Oh, wow.
It's been about a year in the making that I just don't feel in love with it anymore, and that's the problem. It's not going to stop. It's not going to go away. It's not going to end. The brand of Vox and Hops is me, so that's going to continue. There will be more beers coming out. There will be more parties. There will be more shows. There will be more reviews because I have a review crew that write reviews for me. All of that is going to continue, but I need to take a break from doing interviews.
Mm.
And then when it does come back, it's going to be different. I'm going to not do any PR shit. I'm going to solely talk to people I want to talk to, and that's it.
Oh, interesting. So do you have someone help with the bookings or something like that? Or that?
No, I do everything myself,
Okay.
but there's PR people that reach out to you, that reach out to me.
No,
We get all the same emails. It's
Right.
hundreds of emails a day.
Yep. That is true. Well, as sad as I am, it's, not that your competition.
It's not over. I'll come back. I'm sure I'm going to come back. It's a big part of my life. It's given me so many strengths for the band. I'm capable of just sitting here and talking to anyone because of that. Before that, I was very shy.
Mm.
But I just, I put an episode together 2 days ago that came out today. And I found myself just feeling very angry. So I need to re-examine that relationship. Maybe it's something that I just won't do on tour. I don't know. But I've been touring a lot. And I always try to typically stack up all my episodes so they're just finished, but I didn't do it. And I have a nice round number coming up with a very big guest. It's easy to stop at 500. 500 is pretty good.
I get that. Yeah. I mean, and for, the thing is, I do feel you on the grind part of it, not being in love with it all the time. Cause you book these and then you got, I do them in chunks too. So cause I do Lambgoat, I run Lambgoat. So I can't just always have a podcast scheduled every week. Cause that'll just be a whole thing. So I try to knock out a bunch in a row, but then it's daunting to even go oh man, I'm going to I got to talk to these 8 bands. And I don't it's hard for me to be super knowledgeable about every damn thing in the world.
No, exactly. So it's every episode is 7 hours of work. That's how I've broken it down. It's a lot of work. I used to not be on tour. The pandemic was easy to podcast.
Yeah. I did take a break for a little while. I took about a year break. And then, but that was all in the time that Lambgoat, me and Alex, the old owner, were in talks of exchanging over the company and brand.
The ownership.
Yeah. So I took a year off. It definitely hurt. So, it hurt the momentum or whatever of the podcast.
Yes, and the numbers. You see it. And the post-pandemic download ship or whatever is different too.
Well, there's so many more podcasts too. So there's that.
Yeah.
There's a lot to choose from, but
that's what we tell ourselves, but
yeah, it's not me. The audience loves me. You know what I mean? So,
no. But I feel bad for the Vox and Hops heads out there. I've told the crew, because I have a wonderful review crew and people that do playlists for me. I called them to let them know this was happening because I wanted them to hear it from me first.
Well, hopefully it's not that long of a hiatus, but to get to 500,
we'll see. 500 is pretty good.
Yeah, I was hoping to get to 200 this year, but the last 2 months myself just busy going. We went on tour for a little while with Horse the Band for a bit. Then I went and covered some festivals. And so for the month of late April to May, I was just busy. And then I was like, I'm fucking not even going to worry about it. You know what I mean?
Jesus. Can I go pee? Do you mind?
Go ahead.
Okay, perfect. Someone else might come sit and talk to you.
Hey, well.
I can hear you still.
Not weird.
Hopefully you can't hear me pee.
Yeah.
You might be able to. We'll find out.
I don't know.
Gotta edit it out.
Oh, we keep it in or edit it out?
I'm in the tour bar. You might be able to hear it.
No.
Oh, that's good.
I guess we can't hear it when you talk, but other than that.
Sometimes you gotta pee when you do multiple interviews in a row.
I feel that.
Okay, let's get. I'm almost done. Washing hands. The Vanflip podcast. Washing hands. This is just for you.
Yeah. No. You're a hands wash guy. I get it. Some people aren't. You know what I mean? Some people just fucking raw dog it.
Okay. I'm back. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're good. You allowed me
I'll
to
be better. I'll answer better questions then.
You allowed me to use the restroom prior, so I have to allow you to use the restroom. Let's talk beer. What's your favorite style of beer? Because, like, as a beer, I'm not a beer guy myself.
Yeah,
so
I'm a dirty haze whore.
Okay.
I like lagers and stuff like that. Like all beer geeks, like eventually transform into lager heads. But I still love hazy IPAs. It's just wonderful.
I am
Big
clueless.
monster 8% juicy New Zealand hopped IPAs. That's what I like.
Yeah. I am very clueless when it comes to styles of beer, where you say like IPA or lager or whatever. I just like the stuff that kind of tastes like water, where it's like PBR, Coors Light, Miller Lite. Those are my go-to.
There you go. Those are like light lagers, they'd be called.
Yeah.
I'm
down with those. You know, I've grown up.
Yeah,
like,
no. I love beer. I've loved beer probably since 2012. I've always liked beer, but like
dove into it.
Craft beer since like 2012, 2011. With Yuri, who was in CRYPTOPSY for a little moment, was like a big beer geek. Got me into it. Me and Chris have become like very fluent in craft beer. The States is always fun. We always go to breweries, and the brewer's always happy that we're there. It's a perk of the podcast. It's really fun. Today we went into town and just like drank a German beer, but it was delicious. It was awesome. Simple Pilsner. It was good. It was very crisp. It was like cereal forward, very dry with like a little bitter bite. It was really good. I can't remember the brand.
And you kind of got into, when did you get into brewing? Was that around 2012 or?
It was around that exact same time. Like I went through this, when I moved out of my parents' house and I moved in with my wife in 2009, I started buying this mix pack of beer from McCausland, which is a very big brewery in Montreal. It's not a microbrewery, but it's not Molson, it's not Budweiser, so it's somewhat more micro than other things. And there was this pale ale in it that had such like a hoppy, soapy bite to it that really just intrigued me. And from there, I just went into so many more things, to the point like I didn't really get to know brewers or anything about brewing until Vox and Hops came around. And then I sweet talked brewers into making me beers. So I would always be invited into like the back area to the brewery side of the tap rooms, to the facilities, the brewing facilities, to see their setups. And they would like showcase it to me as if I was supposed to understand what the hell was happening, but I didn't. And I pretended that I did. And
yeah, why not?
But you fake it till you make it.
Exactly.
But now I've been in a lot of fucking breweries, and a brewer's always wonderful, and it's always sort of the same, but a little bit different. It's wonderful. I love craft beer. It's such a passion project, the way that death metal is. There's not much money in beer. You have to love it. You have to invest a lot of money into it. You have to give a lot of yourself to get a good product out of it. It's very similar to metal.
Yeah. When did you, because you release beers through the podcast and the brand and whatnot, is that something that you brew and then send off to get brewed?
Oh, no. It's like the most simple thing is like I come up with an idea and I hit up a brewery and then they do all the work and I just put a label on it.
Yeah, okay. So you white label, but do you like figure out is there like testing, tastings and all this other shit involved?
No, which is funny because the Frost episode came out today and he is the complete opposite of me.
Yeah.
Where he is like super involved from A to Z with testings and tastings. No, I'm not like that. I know that they don't have money to do shit like that.
No, I mean like tastings for you, like where you taste it and you test it and stuff like that. So you guys.
No, that's what Frost did for all of the 1349 collabs. But no, I did not do that.
So you're just like,
I trust the people. They're geniuses. They're like, I always work with the best. So I trust them to do the best, and I come up with a cool branding scheme. And I promote it. That's my job. The beer is the worst merch item. You can't sell it anywhere. You can't take it. You can't bring it to venues.
Right.
It's really just like a luxury, egotistical scratching, ego scratching thing for me. And if I can bring a case home and drink it, then I'm really happy.
Well, this is good information to have because my partner Dylan is a craft guy and he wants to do beer, and I'll just be like, no. but we won't be able to sell
It's
it.
really very, very, very complicated.
Yeah. How did you
Yeah.
get into, like, I know that, not get into, but how did you, because beer is an acquired taste, right? So, like, it took me a while to even get used to regular ass fucking light beers. As a beer drinker, when did you start getting into the heavier stuff as far as like IPAs or more hops?
I started as like everyone else drinking shit beer, and then as things went, I live in Montreal. Montreal has a bunch of great breweries. One of the big like pinnacle like precursor craft beer experiences for myself would be Unibrew, La Fin du Monde. It's a Belgian style triple with a very like metal looking image. A lot of their imagery is very excited looking, like Les Trois Pistoles is another one that I love, which is like a dark Belgian triple, I think. Those were like the precursors. And then Yuri being in CRYPTOPSY showed me a bunch of stuff. And then there was this IPA that came out in Montreal in the Quebec region called the Yakima IPA from Le Castel Brewing. That was a very important beer. And then Jude Ciel is another one. There's so many just iconic breweries that put out amazing beers in Montreal, the Quebec region. And I just followed that path. And then as the pandemic hit, I was becoming like a really big beer nerd. And then everyone was always like, Matt, you have to go to Vermont. You got to drink these Vermont IPAs. You're gonna fucking love them. And then the pandemic hit, and then all of the Quebec breweries just started making Vermont style IPAs. So I had them to my disposition at that point. It was it's been exciting. It's been oversaturating at moments. There's times that you need to take a break. During the pandemic, I would get 80 beers a month, 100 beers a month that I was supposed to promote on the podcast and or my socials. And you get used to drinking that much, and that's dangerous.
Yeah.
And then you have to reel things back and try to be an adult and be a human that's going to function for the next 50, 100 years, hopefully. So I have re-examined my relationship with alcohol and have days where I don't drink. Yeah.
Yeah, same. I pounded it in there between 25 and 38 or 35, somewhere around there. And then I had an epiphany, and I was like, see if I can go a year without drinking. And I did. And then my tolerance was like complete dog shit. So then I had to kind of like really pump the brakes on just every day, because like hangovers at 40.
Oh, hangover. No one can afford a hangover at our age.
Yeah,
we have to. We're far too productive to have a hangover.
How do you maintain your weight, or how did you maintain weight when you were drinking as much as that, or was that initially?
I only work out and do everything just to drink.
Okay, I feel you.
That's all I do. And typically, like at home, I don't eat very many carbs, like no bread. Well, I say that, but now I've started making sourdough bread, and now I eat bread again, but it's just too good.
I'll cut you loose here in a second, but because I know you're on tour and you have limited time, and I appreciate your taking the time anyway. But Gandy's like kind of close to Montreal, or Gamby is kind of close to Montreal, and this is the only one of the only other bands that I ever heard like use like French curse words in their songs. Are you familiar with
Granby?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Granby.
Granby. Are you talking about Blind Witness?
Yes. I was curious if you were aware of them, but you definitely were.
Tabarnak.
Yeah, Tabarnak is a fucking because as like my family is from Canada, so like I'm very aware of like the church curse words and like.
Oh fuck yes, it's amazing.
Yeah, when I heard that, I was like, that's pretty fucking cool, and that just became.
That was cool. That was iconic. Like people still like anytime we talk about Blind Witness, that's what comes up.
Yeah.
That exactly that. Yeah.
Well, that's how I remember.
Is it something that will ever happen in CRYPTOPSY? Probably not.
Has there ever? Forgive me because I haven't gone through all the lyrics of your discography for your time or the band in general, but like, has there ever been any kind of like?
French lyrics? Yes, there has. Before my time on Once Was Not, there was this whole section where Alex, the old singer, the old guitarist, did this whole verse in French.
Mm.
I know Despised Icon did a whole song in French, and then they got funding from the Quebec government. So it's not a stupid idea.
No, yeah, it happens. I mean, cool government. Not I would say cool governments, but some governments do allow like fund metal, like in the
I know.
Scandinavian areas.
So maybe we should.
Yeah. Well, Matt, I appreciate your time. RIP to temporary RIP to Vox and Hops. I hope it's not that long of a break, but
No, we'll see.
I feel
We'll see how things go. Yeah, I'll probably miss it and just want to come back. But maybe like some media company will pick me up is another wish that I have. Like Knotfest needs another fucking anchor, and they throw me a fucking bone.
I feel that. Stick around after I end this podcast real quick. But yeah.
Perfect. I see where this is going.
Best of luck. Yes, best of luck with the Insatiable Violence that comes out next month, technically on
June 20th.
Yeah, Season of Mist, and then of course all the reissues that are bound to follow. But Matt, thank you again. Enjoy I know you don't have that much longer on tour, but enjoy the rest of it, brother.
Oh, thank you, Lurk. This has been great. Cheers.